My name is Nikita Deshpande, and I'm a program manager with the Windows Hotpatch Updates team. Today, I'm here to talk to you about hot patching and go deeper into our documentation to share more about our core requirements, and then also discuss what customers have been saying about our product and what questions come up often. Let's get started. Today, we'll walk through what hot patching is briefly. Then we'll delve in deeper to who can get Hotpatch updates and how to enroll. We'll also cover reporting, some frequently asked questions, and then we'll set you up to take off today with actionable steps. Let's begin with the first topic. What are Hotpatch updates? Hot patching is the ability to install security updates without a restart. This is accomplished by modifying in-memory code without restarting the device, process, or applications. Hotpatch updates are the full Patch Tuesday security update that include all the security updates that are in the same month's standard update, and they take effect without a restart. Let's give an illustration of how this is possible. On this slide, we're first showing the standard servicing model. This is the update you get now every month without opting into Hotpatch servicing. In a standard servicing model, once a month, you get one update that includes features and non-security updates, as well as the cumulative OS security update. In the Hotpatch servicing line, we will only be receiving the cumulative OS security update. In this example, let's take an IT admin who enrolls devices in the month of January. This is considered a baseline month. Once the device is enrolled, they will be opted into the Hotpatch servicing model. For the next 2 months of the quarter, February and March, those devices enrolled will get a Hotpatch update with just the security updates in those months without a restart. In the following quarter, all devices will come back and get the April baseline update release. This baseline, as long as the devices remain enrolled, will also be a restart required update. That update will then allow those devices to catch up on any features and non-security updates that have been released in the months of February and March. Now, for the remaining 2 months of that quarter, May and June, they will get Hotpatch updates that have just the net new security updates for those months, and then come back down for the July baseline. As you see, there are 1 month of a quarter that require a restart for all devices. The following 2 months of the quarter will be your Hotpatch update months that do not restart your device. You can opt in and opt out at any time. In a later slide, we'll demonstrate how to do so. As always, Microsoft's #1 priority is security. In case of urgency or need for an out-of-band security fix, we may have additional baseline months. Now, let's discuss who can get Hotpatch updates. To get Hotpatch on Windows 11 version 24H2 or 25H2, you can be on either AMD 64 or ARM 64 devices, and you must be managed by Hotpatch. With licensing, you must have either Windows 11 Enterprise licenses, E3+, a Microsoft 365 F3, a Microsoft 365 Education, A3 or A5, a Windows 365 Enterprise, or a Microsoft 365 Business Premium license. Let's go one by one into some of these core prerequisites. Number 1 is being managed by Windows Hotpatch. Windows Hotpatch is a cloud service that automates Windows, M365 apps for enterprise, Microsoft Edge, and Microsoft Teams updates to improve productivity and security across your organization. The goal of Windows Hotpatch is to deliver software updates to registered devices, and the service frees up a lot of IT and management needs. Questions often come up if you need to register devices with Windows Hotpatch within Microsoft Intune. There isn't a special registration flow for Windows Hotpatch in Microsoft Intune. It's handled as a part of policy assignment. When a device is assigned to a policy, it's registered with the Windows Autopatch deployment service for a content type, for example, quality updates. Once the device is registered, only approved content for that content type is deployed by Windows Update to that device. This is a core requirement to utilize Hotpatch updates on Windows client machines. Windows Update client policies are integrated with Autopatch. This was formerly known as Windows Updates for Business. In conclusion, Windows Autopatch is embedded natively in Microsoft Intune. If you can access Autopatch Windows Device Management or Autopatch reports, which we will demonstrate in later slides, you have met the Windows Autopatch prerequisite for Hotpatch updates on client. Now, let's go to a quick demo. You can utilize Microsoft Intune Admin Center to turn on this next prerequisite on all your devices. Here, we're going to create a new policy in device configuration. You'll want to select Windows 10 and later and pick Settings Catalog for your profile type. Once this loads, you can name your policy, and then you'll choose from the settings picker Virtualization-Based Security. From this view, you'll select Hypervisor Enforced Code Integrity and continue with the next steps by adding scope tags, device assignments, and reviewing your policy. Once you've added the right scope tags and assignments for your policy, you can review, create, and then deploy that policy. Once those devices restart, VBS, Virtualization-Based Security, will be enabled and you'll be Hotpatch ready for this prerequisite. So why is Virtualization-Based Security required for Hotpatch? Well, Virtualization-Based Security is required for the Hotpatch update installer to function. If VBS is not enabled, the device will not be offered Hotpatch updates and instead be offered a standard update. We commonly see this as one of the #1 troubleshooting points among our customers. The best ways to ensure VBS enable come in 3 methods. The first method is to check system information for your device. If the tab Virtualization-Based Security shows running, you are good to go. You can also leverage PowerShell. You can leverage PowerShell by running a script and looking for the following values for Virtualization-Based Security status. If you see the value 0, this means that VBS is disabled. If you see the value 1, this means VBS is enabled but not running. To make VBS enabled and running, which is setting 2, you must restart the device. Then you will be Hotpatch ready. A third method is to go into Windows settings. If your individual device shows under Accounts and Access Worker School that you are in a virtualization-based technology policy, you are in a device that has VBS enabled, and you should be Hotpatch ready as well. This one applies if you followed the demo steps and applied virtualization-based security enablement via the catalog settings picker in Intune. The next prerequisite is only applicable to ARM64 devices. This is to disable compiled hybrid portable executable binaries, also known as CHIPY. In this screenshot, we demonstrate that you can also use the Intune catalog settings picker to set this prerequisite as well at scale. Simply use the same steps as before, but find the disable CHIPY settings key. The default here is for the binaries to be enabled. Once you toggle this to disabled and restart those devices enrolled, you'll be Hotpatching ready for those ARM64 devices. This would be in addition to the VBS requirement. What is CHIPY? Compiled hybrid portable executables are a type of binary that improve the performance of 32-bit x86 applications that are running on ARM64 devices. These CHIPY binaries include both native ARM64 and x86 code. This allows Windows to run those x86 applications more efficiently on those ARM-based PCs. Chippy is only relevant for environments where 32-bit Microsoft Office or other legacy x86 applications are required on ARM64 devices. So why must Chippy binaries be disabled for hot patching? Chippy binaries must be disabled for hot patching because hot patch updates cannot be generated for those hybrid binaries mentioned before. Instead, hot patch updates can be generated for the emulated version of x86 binaries through ARM64X or native ARM64 when Chippy is disabled. These binaries were originally introduced with Windows 10 on ARM to make common x86, Office Chrome drivers, etc. run faster. There's complete support for hot patching and building and loading ARM64 native and ARM64X hot patch binaries. A common question that comes up is, what will disabling Chippy do to my environment? You may experience a performance impact if you're relying on a 32-bit architecture program that does not have a 64-bit alternative on ARM64 devices. A common example of this might be 32-bit COM add-ins or VBA code with declare statements. If you're not sure of this, be sure to test devices first before enrolling them. If there is a reliance, try to update that program to be 64-bit or to identify the devices that must run these programs and exclude them from your Hotpatch quality update policies. Please note that support for 32-bit edition of Microsoft 365 apps on Windows-based ARM devices is ending. New feature updates have stopped for this platform October 2025, and security updates will end in December 2026. If you're not sure if Chippy binaries are enabled for you, you can disable them and check by looking at the Intune catalog settings picker described earlier and seeing what your toggle is on. Alternatively, you can use the registry key provided on this slide, Hotpatch restrictions, to set this value to disabled explicitly. Chippy binaries are enabled by default on those ARM64 devices. Let's move on to the topic number 3. How do I enroll or un-enroll in Hotpatch updates? In the next slide, we'll provide a demo of how exactly you can navigate Microsoft Intune Admin Center and Windows Autopatch to set up a policy with Hotpatch enabled in a matter of seconds. From your Intune Admin Center, you'll navigate to Devices. From here, you'll scroll down to Manage Updates and select Windows Updates. In this window, you'll look at the horizontal tabs and find Quality Updates. From here, select Create and hit Windows Quality Update Policy. Here, you can personalize this policy by naming, adding a description. Select Next, and then you'll see that it is enabled to enroll in Hotpatch by default. So hit Next, and then select which groups of devices you'd like to enroll in this Hotpatch policy. Let's select our admin devices. Once you're finished reviewing your policy, hit Create. You'll see a green arrow indicating that Hotpatch policy was successfully assigned. And you can confirm that the Hotpatch setting is still set to Allow. And there you go. You've now successfully enrolled devices in a Hotpatch enrolled quality update policy. Now let's discuss how to unenroll. To unenroll, you can simply go to the same quality update policy, open it up, and edit to flip the toggle to blocked. Once you go hit Next and then review and confirm that policy, the next month, the devices in this policy will get a standard update that requires a restart. Once devices are enrolled, you might be curious on how to track compliance of whether the devices enrolled have been patched or not. A great place to begin this journey is to check our Windows release notes. You'll notice that Hotpatch updates though released at the same time as the standard updates that require a restart, have a different and distinct KB number. They also have a distinct OS build version. In this example, you'll see the ending of the non-Hotpatch standard security update is 0.2527, and for Hotpatch, it is 0.2522. Check out the QR codes if you'd like to see this example on its real living website. Let's move on to learn more about Autopatch and Hotpatch reporting, where you'll go to track Hotpatch readiness and updates. From your Intune Admin Center, you can navigate to Reports and then down to Windows Autopatch to find your Windows quality updates. This first report here shows your quality update status across all of your policies for quality updates. You can add a column here to check for Hotpatched. You can also find a detailed breakdown of the Hotpatch quality updates themselves. In this view, you'll be able to see your total device count, how many of those devices are up to date, how many of those were Hotpatched, how many are not up to date, in progress, or not ready for the update. Currently in preview, there is an Update Readiness Autopatch report. Update readiness checkups help IT administrators understand their complex and largely dynamic environments with the time-consuming parts of understanding deployment status. Through update readiness, you can now easily identify proactive checks and hidden prerequisites and safeguards before deployment. This will help reduce manual troubleshooting and minimize user disruption. Here, you'll also be able to see Hotpatch status if devices are enrolled in Hotpatch but not meeting the prerequisites to receive them. If you're not seeing data in your Autopatch reports, you might need to enable Windows Diagnostic Data. If you need to enable Windows Diagnostic Data, you'll find a notification in a yellow box under Windows Updates, Quality Updates. Follow the screen and hit Change Windows Data Processing Setting to finally enable that setting for adding more telemetry to understand your update readiness and get more detailed alerts in the future. Be sure to check the setting and hit Save to ensure the changes become live in your environment. Now let's see what other questions customers have been asking as we approach 1 year from general availability. First up, how will my users know they are secure with Hotpatch updates? While it is truly seamless to receive a Hotpatch update, as there's no restart and no toast notification, you can still see in your Windows Updates screen a green banner that indicates that you've been receiving the latest security update without a restart. As simple as that, but it is commonly a question that comes up when we're looking for people who want to know if their devices are compliant. Apart from this, you can refer to our earlier slides about checking compliance, KB number, and OS build version that's installed on your computer. Next, what if I don't know which device groups are Hotpatch eligible? This has been a common question, as when you're going to enroll devices via Windows Autopatch, you may not know which device groups include Windows 10, Windows 11 machines, or machines that have VBS enabled, or for our ARM64 devices, those that have Chippy disabled. The good news here is that you can enroll all of those devices, including those that may not be eligible because of Windows version or because of the other prerequisites mentioned, without consequence. We have detection logic in place in Autopatch that will only offer the Hotpatch update to the eligible devices. Now, those non-eligible devices that are enrolled in a Hotpatch quality update policy will still be offered the standard monthly Windows update. That will require a restart, but there will be no negative effect of keeping them enrolled in the Hotpatch quality update policy. As you light up those prerequisites, those devices that become eligible will then receive a Hotpatch update. A related question is, what happens if I want to upgrade my devices? I'll talk about 2 scenarios that have come up for our customers. The first scenario is upgrading from Windows 10, which is not eligible for Hotpatch, to Windows 11, 24H2, or 25H2. If that Windows 10 device is already enrolled in a Hotpatch-enabled quality update policy, it will now be eligible for Hotpatch. Once that enrolled device gets a baseline release, the next month it will be offered a Hotpatch update. The second scenario is upgrading from Windows 11 24H2, which is Hotpatch eligible, to Windows 11 25H2. If you upgrade that device during a baseline month, which already requires a restart, that upgraded device that is now on Windows 11 25H2 will receive a Hotpatch update the month after. For example, if you were to update this machine from Windows 11 24H2 to Windows 11 25H2 in the month of April 2026, which is a Hotpatch baseline release month, that device will receive its first Hotpatch update as a 25H2 device in the month of May 2026. However, if you upgrade this device to the latest Windows version in a Hotpatch month, which is a month in which a Hotpatch update is offered to enrolled devices, that device will require a restart to upgrade to Windows 11 25H2. That device will receive standard updates until the next baseline release. For example, if you choose to upgrade this device in the month of June 2026, which is a Hotpatch month, the first Hotpatch it will be offered following this will be in August 2026, which is after the July 2026 baseline month. Another real-world question we get from customers is, what if I rely on a refresh or restart schedule to maintain my system performance or reduce support calls? Hotpatching does not take away your ability to do a restart. End users can also opt for restarts in whichever cadence they prefer. But Hotpatching does allow you to have faster security compliance while maintaining your existing restart cadence or reducing it. And currently in preview is Autopatch Maintenance Windows. With Autopatch Maintenance Windows, you'll be able to streamline your updates from drivers, .NET, and other applications that do require a restart. This will help you keep your cadence as per to your productivity needs and your business needs. Devices will remain enrolled in Hotpatch even if you do restart those machines as well. This maintenance window capability will allow you to decide down to the hour when to restart your machines. Another question that can come up is, what if a user chooses to take a standard Windows update while enrolled in a Hotpatch policy? If a user manually chooses to download a standard Windows update from the Microsoft Update Catalog, that device will stop receiving Hotpatch updates until the month after the next baseline release month. However, those devices do not need to be re-enrolled into a Hotpatch policy. Also currently in private preview and open soon is the ability to do Autopatch quality update approvals and scheduling. This new feature will give you the ability to give explicit control over which quality updates are deployed and when you approve specific different content to the same device groups that are eligible for Hotpatch. One of our final questions is about how Hotpatch updates are different for our client users and for Windows Server 2025. Though the fundamentals are the same with Hotpatch updates for client and Hotpatch updates for server, including which months are the baseline months and which months get a Hotpatch update, there are some key differences. Windows 11, 24H2, and 25H2 for client can get Hotpatch updates only through Windows Autopatch. For Windows Server 2025 Data Center Azure Edition, you can use Azure Update Manager, AUM. Azure Arc connected subscriptions for Windows Server 2025 Data Center and Standard Editions can be managed through AUM or programmatically. All right, so let's talk about what you can do today and take off with new information. You can continue your learning journey for Hotpatch updates by learning more about how Microsoft Hotpatches Microsoft by scanning this QR code. You can also choose to enroll your devices today or pilot a few and walk through the steps given in this technical takeoff to understand your prerequisites and your own eligibility status currently. And also, you can feel free to send us questions or feedback or comments to hotpatchfeedback@microsoft.com. we're always welcome to meeting more with customers and understanding their true needs and how we can support them best. And lastly, we have communities you can join to connect with product groups more, get early access to roadmaps, and meet with us to understand what your needs are and have a good feedback loop set up. That concludes our session for Tech Takeoff today. I hope you learned a lot from this session, and I hope this helps you get good insights into how to continue your Hotpatch updates journey. I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you.